Hello and welcome into STF with Laird. I'm Andrew Laird, joined today by psufans2, who a lot of us know tells us who our injury backups are. Sean, what's up?
It is very true. I tell you what, week 18 or whatever, there was like so many guys. It took me for the 4 p.m. games. I think it took like an hour to actually go through everything and get through all the injury backups. I was like, oh my god, because there was probably more in the 4 p.m. games, like by double or triple than there were any other week combined.
Well, I'm glad that we can have fun while you don't doing stuff like that. So it just works out for us. But the big thing today, literally 2 minutes ago, Fun Token is launched. I have no idea where it is right now. We'll look at it in a quick second. Sean, how much have you thought about the Fun Token over the last week and have any idea what we're doing?
Decent amount. I mean, I'm definitely not part of that team, as you know. I don't get into the trenches with the back end tech related stuff. I'm focusing on the NFL fantasy side of things and worry about that. I let the more intelligent people in that aspect focus about that. But I've definitely looked at, definitely read some stuff. Definitely very interesting with the upcoming with the benefits that you get from having fun. Like we were looking, Jimmer and I were actually looking the other day, and it's pretty nice what you're going to be getting by holding the fun. You're going to be getting quite a bit of benefits within the FDF ecosystem by just holding it. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's like kind of another game within the game that should incentivize people to have it as well. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in. I'm definitely interested how everything goes today. But in terms of like the actual like worries and thoughts about it, I'm definitely probably near the bottom of the actual team's list of people that are worrying about it.
So Rick's in the Discord posted a minute ago, 2 minutes ago now, that basically they're live on Base and Solana. There's going to be another post when the airdrop distribution is complete. I think all of us who've been on the platform for a while are very interested in the details of this airdrop. And by details, I mean just how much we get. I did see a couple people. There was a little chatter in the main Sport.Fun Discord of some people who are disappointed that those who have only played the free game don't get an airdrop, which
I could see giving a little airdrop to like some of the like heavy usage people that play the free to play. I could see giving like a little airdrop to that.
what do you consider a little?
I don't know, like 10, $20.
10. Oh, all right. Maybe.
Like maybe, I don't know, like obviously you're not going to give out much to it, but like let's say you're giving out, I mean, the airdrop today, they were giving out what, 4% of the allotment, which is how much money? I don't know exactly. Is that $4 million worth? It's like 10 cents.
Whatever the launch is. Yeah. No, I have no idea.
So like if they gave out $4 million, like they could have given out like 10K to free to play players. I think that would have been fine. I have no idea what the distributions were. I like, again, I have no part of that, so I don't know how much I'm getting. I have no idea how much you're getting, but I think you could have given a little bit to some free to play players.
Maybe, I don't know. We're looking at it right now. Market cap is showing it's 72.3 million based on the current price there. This is on, I happen to pull it up on OpenSea for some reason. I think I saw a tweet that it was on OpenSea, so I pulled it up.
And I think it opened at like 0.06 or something. It was like a 60 million market cap was the open, or was it 100? I don't know. But I mean, I think this is going to be pretty volatile today for obvious reasons. But it could go through the roof. Like it's everywhere. Like all I'm seeing is it's like everywhere. It's on every like platform, it seemed like. So definitely going to be interested to see where it all goes over the course of the day.
Yeah, I think so we had been talking about this and basically like what the mechanics are in terms of kind of doing what they can to make sure there isn't this like giant sell-off. And you alluded to it kind of right away that the way that owning the fun token benefits you so much on the platform that if you're somebody who like already plays the games, selling all of your fun token doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to actually benefit from that. And I put out a Twitter poll earlier because I was kind of generally genuinely, excuse me, talking to somebody else about it, and we were just, if you had money and you wanted to put it kind of in the ecosystem, do you put it on football? Do you put it on NFL, or do you put it on the token? And I don't think that there's necessarily like a bad answer to that, but because they all seem to be they're all connected. If the platform, if everybody's trading a ton, then the token is worth more. If the token goes up, then that gives you more benefits on the site. And it just, the ability to see everything connected like that at least gives you the confidence that like maybe there is not a wrong answer in terms of where to put it. Sure, you could put it on NFL or football and pick the wrong players, but I don't know. It seems like from a coin launching perspective, where everyone's very used to number goes up and then crashes down, that there are solid mechanisms in place to at least try to reduce that possibility.
Yeah, there was a lot of perks. Like I was talking to Jimmer yesterday, and we're like, I mean, I had a typical NFL week, I could get anywhere from like 20 to 40 40K TP. Like I have a big NFL bag because I'm doing stuff, so I'm pretty confident in like what's going on with the NFL. And so I have like a pretty good bag in NFL, and 20% extra TP weekly is a lot. Like if you're getting an extra 20% on 25K rewards, like that's an extra legendary pack a week, which is pretty monstrous to me. Also in general, like I obviously like to play the market a little bit more than you do, for example. And so for me, it's like if I'm getting a mass reduction on fees also, and like that's something else that benefits from me from holding. Like if I end up moving in and out of players, like all weekend I was moving in and out of players as the weekend progressed. And if I'm able to do that and I'm saving, let's say 2-3% every transaction, again, that all adds up. So I think there's definitely some benefits for holding the coins. What I'm more concerned about from the coins perspective is what are people going to do that that are just buying the coin? Because if you're just buying the coin and you're not really participating in the game, I don't know. It's not like you can't do that. You can totally do that. But like those people are going to be more incentivized to just buy and sell. If something goes nuts, like they're going to be like not interested in it. But like for me, like I'm here, I plan to be here long term. So I'm not really, whatever the price goes to today, I'm not really that interested because it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not planning to sell today. Now, if you go out there and you tell me it's like 500x today, okay, well, man, maybe I'm a little bit more interested. But if it goes out there and it just like moves up and down and like maybe 5x's, 10x's, or drops by 50%, it doesn't really matter to me because I know what the impact I'm getting on FDF is on the platform, so I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, we definitely have had a bit of a sell-off just in general on FDF since the launch, but nothing like too monstrous as of yet, it looks like. But like soccer hasn't really been touched. It looks like more so NFL is going down a little bit. But that was definitely a good possibility, like that we saw some people dump off a little bit after the launch today. But it's not like I'm seeing the stuff going out. So
Maxime's saying that airdrop numbers are insane. Now, I feel like all of the numbers look insane when it comes to Maxime, so I'm not sure if I want to like get too crazy about it. I will say that I was complaining to you and a couple other people about how I fell out of the top 100 in my fund score, and hopefully just being a nice person got me some more allocations. So let's say
that is true. Hopefully Maxime tells me how much Maxime got via the airdrop. I'm curious on that. Already fully distributed. Rick's just said in the Discord.
Already fully distributed.
It says airdrop is now fully distributed. You may need to refresh or update your app. Maxime will not tell me what he did or what he made.
Bummer, dude.
But you got to update the app. So
profile payments. Okay.
Profile payments.
Yeah, to go into basically what we were talking about in terms of like the benefits, they tweeted out about it, but basically like boosted rewards, including more fun token. Like it's not even just like extra TP, which I think is kind of fun. I can barely get into this.
I will say I can confirm Maxime's comments
that the airdrop is nuts.
That the airdrop is nuts. Now that said, I'm like my fund score was significantly higher than yours, so like it might be different. But like I was in the top 50, so it's definitely something that you might have a bit less of than me. But yeah, I will confirm what Maxime said.
Based on what I got, I kind of agree. That seems insane.
Yeah. So everyone that I hope that you guys have participated and have been active on the platform, because yeah, the airdrop was pretty nice.
What's funny is I'm looking at mine, and I can't fathom what Maxime's actually is.
Yeah, that's like I got mine. I know Maxime's had me.
Oh, he just privately told us.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Now,
so
how much is yours in relation to that, Laird? Like 20% of it?
I got, hold on. So I got like a third of yours.
Okay. No, you got a third of Maxime's.
No, a third of yours.
Oh, okay. Third.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Hold on.
That feels pretty nice.
No, I got less than that. You just corrected yours.
Yeah,
it's funny that we're trying to like beat around the bush here.
Okay, yeah.
I'll just, there we go. Anyway, do you anticipate buying more like of the fun token as opposed to just shares in the game?
I would rather I feel more comfortable with shares in the game, if that makes sense, just because like I understand what is happening with the shares in the game, and like I can sort of understand where they're going to some extent. Does that all make sense?
That's literally exactly what my response was going to.
Yeah. Like so here's my thoughts on things, and it could be wrong. Again, like I said, I'm not someone that's super in the weeds with this stuff. But like for me, the people that are buying the token, a large chunk of the people buying the token are like people maybe that are just playing the game, just trying to quick flip something. We've gotten rid of more of those people on the actual platform because that's already happened. We've already seen them pump and dump on the platform. And so like for that reason, like I'm just more comfortable with the people. I feel more comfortable with the players on the game. I also just sort of know where like my rewards are going to come from and stuff like that, and am interested in how that goes. So like for me, I'm just more comfortable, I think, with the actual platform. And it makes more sense to me. Jeez. So looks like the market cap, but the airdrop's been fully distributed, and we're on 8 cents. So like we're like in that range, like 7 to 8 cents. So it seems like it's not dumping as hard.
Well, I mean, like we said, there's every reason, or there are lots of reasons not to dump it if you're active on the platform. And if you're active on the platform, like you probably got a higher allocation. And so I wouldn't expect people who got like huge allocations to be selling at this point just because of that. Yeah. Sean was just looking at it. Let's see.
The NFL dipped. Yeah, NFL. It's hard to tell because it takes a little bit for stuff to go. So like NFL dipped. It looks like soccer dipped a little bit. My squad value, the squad value updates a little bit quicker. My squad value is down about 8% since they dropped the fun token, but that's it. So it's dropped like 8%. Now it probably will continue to go down maybe today, but I'm not sure. But like honestly though, it seems like the guys that have sold off for the most part are like the playoff players that are still active. Like Khalil Shakir, I think went down a bit, and like Khalil Shakir was at like an obnoxious price that was kind of ridiculous to begin with. So I'm not like, oh yeah, that should have definitely stayed where it was at. Cause like some of the playoffs, I just think some of the playoffs are a little bit bloated for what they should be price wise right now. Not all of them, but at least some of them.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's Thursday and I bet not financial advice, go up from here just because people get ready to get ready for the games this weekend. So going back to like what you were saying about understanding like the football and NFL side more than the token.
Yeah.
I think like I sit exactly in that spot of if a player goes up or down on the, like player shares go up or down, like I probably know the reason. And if the token moves, I'm just like, all right, like either somebody big came in and bought or somebody came in and sold. And I just don't, there's no reason for me to, there's no like overarching reason where I'm like, oh, this is why the token goes down. I don't see myself ever getting to a point where I understand it anyway.
Yeah.
And so I'm just happy to like keep what I have and get my reward boosts and move on from there.
Exactly. Well, I know how the rewards are going to come, right? Like I know how I'm going to earn them. I know what I'm going to get from my reward. So I feel relatively comfortable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the first 15 minutes have shaken out everything, but I also think like we didn't like if Josh Allen dropped to like 2 cents or something and dropped like 80%, then you would have seen it a bit more. Like most of the guys have dropped by like 10%. And again, like a lot of the people that I'm seeing are dropping are like playoff guys. Like Kyron Williams dropped 20%. Kenneth Walker dropped 15%. Dalton Kincaid dropped 16%. Like those guys are kind of guys that I felt were like bloated to begin with and didn't really make sense that they were necessarily that high. Like George Kittle dropped 13%. Dude literally has a ruptured Achilles. So I'm not like super shocked, but most of the guys that dropped were guys that are in the playoffs. Guys that are not in the playoffs really didn't move much. If I'm looking like at all these other guys, like Egbuka dropped 1%, Omarion Hampton dropped 0.1%, Ladd McConkey dropped 0.5%. Like guys that aren't in the playoffs did not really seem to be impacted as heavily. Like Bijan Robinson dropped 2%. Jahmyr Gibbs dropped 1.8%. So typically the dudes that dropped are all guys still remaining in the playoffs where maybe their prices were bloated because people are trying to get fun score and get additional TP in. So I think that makes some sense. But yeah, it looked like soccer was coming off a little bit as well. But again, it doesn't look like nobody's dropped as of now that I'm seeing on like quick glance by like 40-50%. Like the maxes are 20, and it's mostly the football guys where they're more volatile anyways.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the guys that you were mentioning though, like that drop of 1% is probably like 1 or 2 moves. It's not like a bunch of people are selling.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering if Palmer was referring to the first 15 minutes of the token. Like if you got an airdrop and you wanted to get out, I'm assuming that you sell fairly quickly. And so now that doesn't mean that everybody is like right at their computer in order to sell at launch. But I feel like if you're somebody who would do that, you probably are. And so if maybe we end up stabilizing in this like 7-cent range for a little bit, and as Jimmer had said previously, like all it takes is the threat of another airdrop and people may hold a little longer. And we know that there's another airdrop coming later.
Yeah.
Not today, but was it after a month or so?
I think it was after a month and it's 2%. So like in theory, you should get a very similar amount in like a month if you hold and if you're not changing stuff. So yeah, I think that the first 15 minutes definitely shook out to some extent.
Palmer said, I'd like to know if some of the current whales have got in yet or not. I assume all of them. Well, I assume they obviously got their airdrop, but like not. Yeah. And we know a bunch of them that bought in the ICO also. Correct. So they have that as well.
Correct. So like I think that it all makes sense. And I mean it seems like pretty reasonable. I mean, even the lower levels seem like they got a pretty good amount. Like so here's the funny thing. This is how like out of the loop I am with regards to the token. And I'm curious, like, because you're not someone that's heavily like paying attention to that stuff either. A week ago, how much were you thinking you would get from like the token?
Because
I'll tell you my number, and then Jimmer laughed at me.
Because yours was too high or too low?
Too low.
Oh, okay. No, I was expecting probably like 20% of what I got.
Yeah, so I was expecting like very low. I told Jimmer I was expecting I was like, oh yeah, token's gonna launch. I'll probably get a couple $100.
Yeah, I think I was kind of in that idea. Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, you're not. You're gonna get more than a couple $100 because of how it's distributed. He's like, if it was evenly distributed. Well, to be fair, and he's like, I don't know if they're only giving it to the top 1,000 people, right, or if they are. So Maxime thought 5K max last week. So if you thought that like they're giving it to every person on the platform. That obviously dilutes it. But Jimmer said, he's like, they've been posting top 1,000 as like the metric. He's like, if they give it to the top 1,000 and it was evenly distributed around the top 1,000, which it was unlikely to be because they've obviously made it pretty clear that you're going to be above it, then you would be getting 2,400.
Right.
Everyone
And
so
that's
the Jimmer's laughing.
You knew you were in the top 50.
Yeah, so I was apparently way under. Like I'm happy with it. It's not like life-changing money or earth-shattering money or anything by any means, but it's definitely a lot more than like $200 that I was expecting. So yeah, Jimmer laughed.
Was a fun amount of money.
Yeah, it was fun. I was happy with it. So anyways, yeah. Now, what's your thoughts on there not being a ginormous push right off the bat? Because like I'm not someone that, like, were you expecting this to go to like 2, 3, like 20, 30 cents or something, like right off drop?
Genuinely, I had no idea. Like I had no frame of reference. I don't have a history of doing this. So I honestly had no idea. And
Gotcha.
I feel like I would be responding the same way if we were looking at the screen now and it was 80 cents instead of 8 cents. I say that, and it's completely not right, because then obviously our allocation would have been worth a fuck ton more. But I had no expectation of where this is, in the same way that when I look at player shares, I'm just like, okay, I see what they are worth now. I have absolutely no idea what they'll be worth in I was going to say a year. I don't know what they'll be worth in a month, let alone a year. And so it feels like that huge football run up at the beginning when we were talking about $5 Yamal, and now we're like, oh, it'd be great if we got back to there. And it's like, is it realistic that we ever get there, or even $1 Yamal? And then we start talking like, does the fun token ever get to $1? Like, I have no clue. And
Soccer's actually up now. It looks like a lot of people have just been moving funds around into different people. Like, I don't know. Oh, never mind. It's not updated on mine. Then on mine, it's showing a 23.35 market cap. But again, like, if this drop like could have been ridiculous, or it could have been like what it is. Like, I don't think these guys dropping by 10% is like the end of the world by any means. I think it's semi-realistic that they would come down a little bit after this drop. But also,
I guess I don't totally understand it. Like, what the point is. Like, what's the reason to sell $286 worth of Trey McBride right now?
Well, I think there was probably some people that were literally just waiting to get this fun airdrop, and then they were done. This was like their
platform.
Yeah, this was like their end date, where they're just like, okay, I'm going to get this, I'm going to save till this, and then I'm out. Like, I think that there was probably some people that were deciding that. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm just like looking. This actually looks. This is just like some random wallet that I saw that they're just, I guess, getting out.
Yes.
Or selling. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you were here for, you did a bunch only for the airdrop, you're obviously now, by selling out, sacrificing the ability to get the supplemental airdrop.
Correct.
But if you're not going to play, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Correct. Well, like here's the thing: for every human being, like, there has to be an exit at some point, or you have to plan to leave at some point. Now, that some point could be like years down the road.
Sure.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that needs to be anytime in the near future. But for other people, like, if you're going to play, I mean, it's not terrible that people are leaving. It just means your airdrop in a month might be bigger than what you were expecting. So,
and frankly, our rewards get bigger now because now we have more active shares.
Your rewards will get bigger. Your active shares will get bigger. Like, there's just lots of people that will adjust. So, like, yeah, as an overall, like, I'm not super shocked that people are selling. Again, like, the football stuff makes sense to me. The only people that are really selling in football are the playoff guys. Almost everyone that was not in the playoffs still, that had a bloated price because they were in the playoffs, those people have remained relatively stable on the football side of things.
Yeah.
And almost every playoff player is down like 10 to 20%, which, like, again, I have personally felt like they were obnoxiously bloated. Like, I've looked at some of the dudes and, like, again, I'm not saying what anyone should do with their money or anything, but Dalton Kincaid, as of yesterday, was like ahead of Brock Bowers. Dalton
I mean,
Kincaid, like, isn't
well,
great by any means. Like, he's still fourth. Like, Dalton Kincaid right now is distantly fourth of the tight ends in the current price point. Like, once they lose, like the second they lose, he's like worse than Rondé Gadsden. Like, I'd rather probably have a Rondé Gadsden, right? And he is 4x a Rondé Gadsden's price. Now, you make up a shitload of that if they make the Super Bowl. Because if they make the Super Bowl, Dalton Kincaid's getting at least probably 20% worth of rewards on the way there, or at least like 15, like 9 minimum, probably closer to 20. So if they get to the championship game and they just get there, it doesn't even matter what the hell he does in any of the games. If they just get to the Super Bowl, which is possible by all means, then, I mean, he's probably worth quite a bit more than a Rondé Gadsden, both from the end of this season, from the offseason TP you get, all that. But, like, if he loses tomorrow, he's like a worse version of a Rondé Gadsden. So it's like one of those things. Like, George Kittle literally has a ruptured Achilles, and this dude is fifth. This dude is ahead of Dallas Goedert, and he has a ruptured Achilles.
yeah,
like,
I think just people are owning to play this weekend,
which is great. And actually, like, you don't pay much attention to games and stuff. You're not like watching stuff. The market during these games is wild.
Yeah,
Like,
I see you guys talking about it and like the numbers. Have you looked though, like when it happens, whether it's like lots of people selling or it's just like one person moving in and out?
I haven't looked into that, but like the amount of change that it has, I'm assuming it's more than one person, because it's a pretty big ranges. Like, I got off the plane because I was traveling, and I got off the plane during the fourth quarter of the Bears game where the lead changed like 4 times. Josh Jacobs went down like 40%, back even, up 10%, down 30, up 10, down 30, up 20, even, up 20, down to like, because people were like, as the drives were happening, like it got to like 4th and 10, and everyone like dumped Josh Jacobs. And then they converted the 4th and 10, and everyone bought Josh Jacobs back in. But the issue is, like, you can't really like fully see all of the moves on the platform, because like at the end of the day, the platform like only shows on the graph like hour charts. Well, all this happened within an hour. So this dude just like up and down, up and down, up and down within the hour. And it was interesting because like people were moving like in and out of players of Josh Jacobs like as the game's going. Same thing happened with like the Bills game. And it's like, it's just funny because people are very reactive to like what's going on in the game. So I have a list of guys who I like want to hold into the offseason, and at which point like I just don't care what they do in the game. So like Josh Allen, like, I'm not selling Josh Allen, I'm just going to hold Josh Allen. So if Josh Allen is to be eliminated, I'm not going to move my shares of Josh Allen. Like, I'm just going to be holding my shares of him. Whereas like there's some guys where it's like, I don't really love this player and I really don't want to have them if they lose. But if they win, I definitely don't want to sell either, because they could get to the Super Bowl. Like a player that I didn't love, like, let me find someone so I don't like give away the players. Yeah, Josh Jacobs is a good example. Like, I don't love Josh Jacobs. I'm not like super interested in Josh Jacobs, and I really did not want to hold him if they lost. So I think I was just sitting there. So let me pull up my Josh Jacobs like history with what I did with him. And I've taken some massive L's. Because I was also traveling. I had to sell Jordan Love before the game started because I was going to be in the air and he was another guy I didn't want. But yeah, so Josh Jacobs, I bought 26,000 shares at 0.0114 set, 0.0114. And I sold him right before they were coming, like right after the Bears took the final lead. I think I sold him like right before, because it looked like, or as soon as I saw it pop up, because I think I was still on my phone. As soon as I saw it pop up, I sold my shares of Josh Jacobs for 0.0134. So I made a very small amount of profit on him, and I'm fine with that. I was like, if they come back and win, so be it. But I don't want to be sitting there on him if they lose. And then if they, like, again, though, he didn't really fall that much below what I sold him for anyway, so it wasn't even a great sale to begin with, although I think he has sold since then. Yeah. So like now he's 0.08. So like I did not want to be holding him to 0.08. I wanted to sell him and be like, all right, I'm cool with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that because I was watching the Third Half podcast, which Palmer and Ace did last week, and Ace was saying that like he trades out significantly during games, and one of the things he referenced, he was like, yeah, I forget who the player was, but he was like, I don't think it was a Charger, but whatever it was, he was like, yeah, in the middle of the second quarter, like it was clear that actually, you know what it was? It was the game where Lamar got hurt. So it wasn't last week. It was like a couple weeks ago where he left at halftime, or he got like banged up in the first half and then left at halftime. And he was like, yeah, I sold like 90,000 shares of Lamar in the middle of the game because he looked like he was going to be hurt. And it's like that kind of movement is going to move the price a lot, but it's not, if you just see it on the site, you're like, oh shit, everybody's selling Lamar. But if it's actually just one whale selling their position,
yeah,
it's not as drastic in terms of the number of people, but obviously the price is going to move pretty significantly with one guy with 90,000 shares.
Exactly. Like, and that's what, like, I sold Jordan Love. I had like 40,000 shares and then he finished first. So like I didn't get any of those rewards. But also I was like, I thought Green Bay was going to lose the game, or I also thought the game wouldn't be high scoring. Like I didn't think Jordan Love and Caleb were going to go off like in the way they did.
Well, nobody did. Like if you sold Jordan Love before the game and you were like, by the way, the Bears won, you'd be like, great, I made the right choice.
Yeah.
But it's like the movements during the game, you were just like, oh, I guess you could have gotten something out of that.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I feel like everyone is just looking at their fund score or their distribution, and they're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the numbers don't make sense to me. That's all.
No, nothing ever makes sense.
Because I don't even know what they mean. So I'm just like, oh.
Like, yeah, I definitely expected both the soccer and football platforms to go down today, for sure.
Just with the idea of people held until today and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, people were holding for this moment, right? Like, in my opinion, people were holding for this moment. So I think that it's only logical that the price on players and stuff were going to go down.
Yeah. Speaking of going down, now we're under 7 cents.
I know. I see that.
Did you get in on the ICO?
No, I didn't get in on the ICO because I was really busy that week, I think. And a lot of the stuff happens so quick, right? A lot of the stuff happens. I mean, if I was fully following along with it, I don't think it would be as shocking or like as there. But like, I think when the full details of the ICO and like what happened like with it like came out, it's like you got to do everything within the next 48 hours. And like that 48 hours, I was like slammed and just didn't have a chance to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just like, it is what it is. Like, I just don't have the time to read into this because for me, it takes a lot longer to read on stuff and fully understand it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that at this time because I know we'll get an airdrop because that was already said. And I was like, I can buy once it drops anyways.
Yeah, I didn't get in at either. And the 48 hours was plenty of time for me, but I was like looking into it and I was like, literally on my computer, just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And it felt like, from my perspective, and I would classify myself as in the crypto community as a normie.
Yes.
And I was just like, if what they say is true, meaning the more that you interact with the platform, the more your airdrop will be, that felt like a better use of my time and money than trying to get in on the ICO. Now,
I tend to agree.
Maybe I don't know what the ICO price was that people ended up actually getting these shares. I don't think it was, 1 cent. Obviously wasn't free. So like, I'm not sure how much it's grown anyway.
I think it was 6 cents.
Yeah. And I'm comfortable like where my actual like Sport.Fun ports are, that I just was more than happy to focus on the things that I actually know about.
Yeah.
And just take the peripheral benefits when they arrive, which is today. Yay.
Yeah. And like, I mean, it definitely is offsetting the sell-off to some extent because the sell-off is definitely happening. Like, Both soccer and NFL are down a decent chunk since it happened, which again, kind of what I expected. Because we, like we said, everyone has to have like a sell off and leave point, and it just is what it is. Like if you never are ever going to leave, then you're just never leaving.
Well, yeah. Well, like you said, if you're not leaving today, there's no reason to sell today.
Correct, and that's like I'm not planning to leave anytime in the near future. So it's, for me, it's not really that important of a thing. Like, do I like seeing bigger numbers? Yeah, of course. Like, who doesn't like seeing bigger numbers?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think that's a given with anyone.
Yeah. Shout out to this guy. Somebody's buying. I saw a couple Doku buys.
Saw Cherokee go up a lot.
This guy's selling. So what do I know?
Yeah, I saw it. I've held my Doku. I don't plan on selling him.
Are you trading soccer as much as NFL?
I am more so into the NFL stuff. I like the gameplay better for NFL personally. I've actually started watching NFL more actually because of this.
Do you think that the playoffs are like accentuating the trades?
No. I don't pay as near as much attention outside of the playoffs. Outside of the playoffs, I just had my guys I wanted. I would buy guys for the playoffs like a month before the playoffs, and I was content with what I got in them. Yeah. I have my core guys that I'm just going to hold, and that was my plan, and that hasn't really changed. But like in the playoffs, I do feel like, especially because like I don't know if I will go with this strategy again next year. We will see. But like this year, I definitely bought guys that I don't particularly love for the playoffs that I thought had good chances, like to make the playoffs and or go for a run in the playoffs. And because of that, I kind of feel like I have an obligation to like pay attention to what's going on within the games and within the markets. Because again, like I said, I didn't want to hold Josh Jacobs down to drop off of like 70%. Like I just didn't want to do that. That was not a player I was like, I want to have next year necessarily. So I did not want to just sit there and ride. Whereas like Josh Allen dips 40%. I don't really care because I don't plan on not having him anyway. So it's like, is what it is. Now that said, obviously like selling and then buying back in. There was a player I sold. Oh, Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert, but going into that game, to me, I thought the Patriots were going to smash them because their line is terrible. And the score for third was like 28 points or something obnoxious. Like I think it was like 27.5. Herbert getting there was just very, very unlikely. And so I sold Herbert, I think, at like 0.02 and then bought him all. I bought all of what I spent back at like 0.011. So I ended up making like a good chunk of shares by just doing that. So like I think there's still plenty of ways to do that and handle that. But yeah, I'm not trading in and out of soccer a lot. My plan for soccer has been pretty consistent. I have all the core guys that I want. And then whenever I win rewards in those guys, I just stack them and continue to stack. If it's a player I don't like, I am typically selling and then either buying more of those guys that I like, or buying football players. And typically I do the same in football. Like if in football I get a Josh Allen shares, I just stack them. And if I get shares of someone I don't like, then I just will sell them and then buy someone else. But typically like my gold balance stays around the same. And then I just like am spending, my gold balance goes like down slowly because I like buy into new pieces, but then I'll sell out of pieces and my gold balance will fluctuate a bit depending on what I'm planning for the week.
Yeah, I think I follow pretty much the same idea. Like I have the guys that I know I want, and if I pack guys that are not on that list, I sell them and I put them into guys that I want. I was trying to think of whether we'll see a similar. We certainly won't see the similar swings on the number of players on the soccer side than we do during the NFL playoffs, because like once a guy's season is over, it's over. It feels like the Sport.Fun guys have made kind of a point that the Champions League is like a big moment for them. Like they keep referencing that. It's like the NFL draft, Champions League final, World Cup, and then next season starts. And I do wonder if we'll see like a huge rush on players once, like during the Champions League, like semifinals, if it's clear like who's going to make the final. The weird thing about, or the difference, is that those games aren't that far away from like regular domestic leagues
Correct.
ending, and
It's
so
like
we're like
a week.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's two. I don't even know if it's 2 weeks, but I wonder if we'll just see like a faster spike on the guys who do make the Champions League final, because, I feel like we kind of assume they're going to have, a big enough tournament for the Champions League final because they're making a big deal out of it.
Correct.
And maybe the Super Bowl will give us a better indication of what we can expect, because obviously there are more football players on the platform than there are NFL players, but not all of them make the Champions League final, obviously. So, yeah, it'll be. I mean, we'll have to wait to see like what happens with that one. But I was trying to see if any of the things that we can learn about the NFL market can help us on the football side leading up to the Champions League, and I just don't see enough similarities.
Yeah, I don't see similarities between the Super Bowl and the Champions League final. Like in the Champions League, like you're talking like a week, and also like those teams for like weeks who make it, because isn't like the semifinals like weeks before it type of thing also?
Let's find out.
Like I think you at least have weeks to find out. Also, like the Europa League is played in the same area. I don't know. I just don't really think it's going to be the same.
Let's see. Heaven forbid I scroll. So yeah, the semis are May 4th and 6th.
Yeah, and the championship and the finals probably like the fucking
29th. Yeah.
So like you have 3.5 weeks. Also, like, I mean, who knows who's going to make the Champions League final? So like, don't quote me on any of that. But like, it's probably going to be guys that are already super high owned players, anyways.
Probably.
Like it's also like there's hypothetically, like let's say Barcelona plays Bayern in the Champions League final. There's 6 forwards. Like there's not one. Like in NFL, like there's very good chance there are 2-2-2-1 or less. Like there could be
less, yeah.
like there could be 0 of one of the positions. So like it's like literally like in NFL, there could be one quarterback. Like you have him, you could just win. Whereas in soccer, you could have 6 forwards that are all at least like it's the same game. It's just going to be like a luck-based thing who comes down to get the goals. And not saying it's not good, but I just don't think in NFL, like tight end this week, like if you have tight ends, you're guaranteed rewards every single week that we go forward. And you are going to be guaranteed like high-end rewards as you go further. Whereas in like soccer, like yes, like goalie will be that way. And then players like, yeah, it's going to be that way to some extent, but also at the same time, you just like it's 3.5 weeks. There's domestic leagues like right up until the end. Then you go right into the World Cup. Whereas the NFL, it's like guys that aren't playing at the end of January literally aren't playing again until August or September.
Yeah. So I was looking at 4th through the 6th is the Champions League semifinals. The Premier League at least has 3 games in between that before the Champions League final.
Yeah.
So like the other league, maybe the Bundesliga ends a week early or something like that. But we have like 3 domestic weekends basically in between. So we're not going to see like a huge buy of players who win the semifinal because maybe their next 3 maybe we will, but like the next 3 weekends, they still have domestic league matches that they have to deal with before the Champions League final anyway. So I don't know. I don't think we'll see too much, but
yeah. What's been your view on stuff? Because I know you obviously hate the NFL. Like, what's your view on how the NFL product has been, and what's your thoughts on that? Because I know you obviously don't care as much about the NFL.
So my most frustrating thing about the NFL is you're right. I don't really care about it, and yet it seems like everyone who plays it has a lot of fun. And I'm like, shit, am I going to have to like get into it now? I think the huge benefit with like the platform is I don't have to know everyone.
Yeah.
And so that's huge for me because I don't want to have to know everybody.
Yeah.
And like as a Jets fan, just the NFL is not an entertaining product for me. And Garrett Wilson they may as well pay us to own Garrett Wilson shares. The thing that I keep going back to when it comes to NFL. So I think my last 2 football like rewards whenever I sold them, I put that money into NFL. I didn't put it back into football. And I just kind of keep going back and forth with the concept of, do I buy the playoff guys or not? And one of the conversations that we were a part of, like you and Maxime, actually, like you're buying some guys who are not in the playoffs because you're like, I don't, even the offseason TP isn't necessarily your concern. It's just like, this guy's young, he's really good, and he's dirt cheap. Why wouldn't I buy it? And I was curious if you think that there's anything over the next few months that would push prices higher or lower on those guys, the ones that aren't going to be a big off-season TP payer and aren't in the playoffs right now.
I definitely think it's going to happen. Now, when that time frame is, I'm not sure. But like, great example. Like, I think the best buy right now on the platform is Brian Thomas. Now, granted, disclaimer, I'm a huge bag holder of Brian Thomas. Like, I would assume I'm in the top 2 to 3 people that own Brian Thomas. You could probably verify that. I can tell you how many, like, I have a lot of shares of Brian Thomas. Maxime has a lot of Bucky, has a lot of Laird, but
Laird at least was in the playoffs. So but I mean, if he's going to keep buying, that's fine. But he
didn't. He bought more after the playoffs ended, to be fair. But all right, here's an example of Brian Thomas. Last season, Brian Thomas outscored Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Meaning like
2024.
Okay.
Had more points than him. He had a bad year. He was not very good. He made some drops. That offense is up and coming. They look pretty damn good. They look like pretty solid, like going forward. Could he rebound to that? Maybe. Like, he's 22. He's the same age as Jackson Smith and Jigba. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is 10x his price. And like, do I think he should be 10x his price? Probably not. So I also, like, another one of those things is like, Brian Thomas, last week I had 150,000 shares. I now have 257,000. He finished third. How much TP do you think I got for third? Fourth. He finished fourth.
Thomas?
Yes. How much TP do you think I got for Thomas for finishing fourth?
I literally have no idea.
I got 11,000 TP for finishing fourth. If he finishes first, I'm getting like 50,000 TP. Like, that's a lot. And it's not out. Like, Tedero McMillan, great example. Tedero McMillan finished first once this year. If you spend, so like, for example, Brian Thomas, like, let's say if I bought $1,000 of Brian Thomas right now, I'd get 182,000 shares of Brian Thomas. Okay? If I spend $1,000. If he finishes fourth one time in the entirety of next season, I pay that off.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, that's, assuming the number of shares is the same, which it won't be. And
but then if the number of shares aren't the same, then that means his price went up, and all of a sudden you spend $1,000 and you have $2,000 worth.
It might.
So like, it's one of those things where like, if it goes up, it pays off. If it sells down, then you just make more TP. So I really think that those small guys are where the best play ability comes from, because you can just spend not tons on them and get a massive. Like, I spent $300 on Khalil Shakir about at 0.04. 0.004. So I spent $300 on Shakir at 0.004. I could now sell it for, there's a fee on him right now because everything's dumping. That makes sense. I could probably sell it for like $500, but he's also earned me 10% worth of rewards in that time frame. And I think that was like the equivalent of like $400 worth of TP. So I've paid off my investment on him just from TP value. So it's one of those things where I really think that there is we had the same thing with soccer, right? Soccer at one point, the difference between Lamine Yamal and like, I'm not going to say like the total like Jonathan David level players, but like
whoa. Jonathan David has more top 1 finishes than Yamal.
Yeah, I had to do it for you. But like the guys, like, I don't know, let me go over soccer real quick and see who it's comparable to. Like, and at one point, like the difference between like Yamal and let's say a Phil Foden was like 20x. That was obnoxious. Now the number's like 4x. Well, in football, we have some of these top guys that are like 10x plus these other guys, and I just don't think that's necessarily where it should be for some of them. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I love this player right now, but Baker Mayfield is 0.006. Baker Mayfield at 0.006 seems like a better buy than some of these other guys that maybe are more than him. Like Jordan Love's 0.155. Like 3x difference between Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield? Maybe not. I'm not sure.
And none of this is really considering offseason TP.
Correct. I'm not trying to consider offseason TP as much. Like Jordan Love's offseason TP is very strong. It's much stronger than Baker Mayfield's. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. I will say, so one thing Jimmer and I were talking about, the nice thing with the way I'm currently tracking off-season TP, I'm giving you a good indication of how much people earn during the season over the course of a full season. So like right now, Josh Allen is at 60% worth of rewards per week. Baker Mayfield is at 12% over all of the weeks. That means that Josh Allen has generated 5x the vault value of what Baker Mayfield has done. But Josh Allen is currently priced at 9x.
I was gonna say it's almost 10x, yeah.
So that math doesn't math. But Josh Allen isn't done. If Josh Allen goes to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden that number of rewards from Josh Allen is going to be like 80, and Baker Mayfield is still at 12, and then you're at 7.5x, which is a much more reasonable thing. But it's pretty easy to look at that stuff, but you also have to factor in like future next year stuff. Like Dak Prescott could be pretty good next year. He might be quite a bit better than Jared Goff, but Jared Goff maybe has more offseason TP. I don't think he does. I actually think it's the other way around. But
I'm pretty sure Dak is like one of the.
I'm pretty sure Dak is like second or something because their defense was so bad, but their offense was fine. Yeah. That so Dak's is 53. Yeah, Dak's barely below him, and then Jared Goff's is 45. So like, should those two be identical price points? No. But so anyways, I think that there is some clear like areas to look at with regards to pricing. And I think that if the gaps are that massive, it's just doesn't make much sense. Also, like if a Brian Thomas gets injured, you can injury cover that a bit better. Like if Josh Allen gets hurt, you're kind of fucked. We've seen it with some exceptions. Yeah, you know where Jordan Love got 12 of his TP from? Because he was hurt.
Yeah.
Malik Willis is better than him as a DFS player. So like, but again, like tight end's kind of rough. Laporta, once he got hurt, like those tight ends average like 1 point a week. Same thing with Kittle. Like Kittle gets hurt, those tight ends are just not great. Whereas like receivers, you get a bit more value. Running backs, you get a lot more value. So I just think in general, like running backs, I'll give an example. Jaylen Warren. If Jaylen Warren were to get injured and you have an injury cover of Kenneth Gainwell as like a workhorse back, it's way better than Jaylen Warren by himself. So he actually becomes a better player than what he was.
The injury cover makes you realize just how replaceable most of these non-quarterbacks are.
I think DeAndre Swift got a majority of his TP from the 2 weeks he missed, and it was just Mononga, and Mononga got fed. Like, just is what it is. But I think that you have, in my opinion, a lot less risk on these lower end guys. Plus, you can just kind of monopolize them to some extent, where like you just own a shitload of them. And that will keep their price relatively stable because a lot of the time the sell-offs happen because like, okay, a guy starts selling off, then everyone starts selling off. If you own a shitload of a player, it's a lot harder for that to just happen because if you're just holding strong, he's just going to stay pretty stable.
If you're the Baron, if you're the
Baron, you're just like, he's going to stay pretty stable.
Was Joe Flacco the best quarterback injury replacement?
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
No, it was
in Cincinnati.
It was Malik Willis. That week Malik Willis had was if Malik Willis played a full season, he would outperform what Jordan Love does. Just because he runs. Like his running is just so massive. Yeah. There are positions where the injury cover helps more. Like, I mean, Mahomes.
I guess we didn't have Burrow. That's why. Never mind. Yeah. I guess I meant would Flacco have been had we had Burrow?
He would have been good because he definitely had a couple big weeks in there. So he definitely would have been pretty solid. Burrow also would have been good. But also, like, the injury cover may change slightly next year as we expand players. That's got to be solved and figured out exactly how it'll function. But I don't think we're planning on removing it in any way. It's just a matter of, like, if we have a bunch of players and we have guys that get moved to other teams, you can't have injury cover working the exact same way in which it did this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you and I talked about that kind of like off stream, just like what happens if one of these quarterbacks become, well, I don't think one of these quarterbacks will be a backup, but like basically if the injury covers a guy who's already on the platform, you just go to the next guy probably.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think that I just think that I think there's a lot more safety in guys that are cheaper than there are in guys that are expensive currently. Because again, like I said, like any of these guys on page 4, if you own them and they get injured for the most part, because almost none of them are quarterbacks, they're probably going to at least get a cover that's a reasonable replacement. Whereas if Josh Allen is to die, like you're just not in a great spot. If some of these other, like if Puka Nacua goes down, I mean, you have Devontae Adams, but I mean, I think he doesn't end up there next year. But like Puka goes down, you're taking a massive drop. Like all the guys at the top, if they get hurt, you're taking a big drop off, most likely. Mm-hmm. Whereas like a lot of the guys on the bottom page, if they get hurt, they actually get benefited. So it's an interesting like give and take, but I think it works pretty well. I also think it works pretty well from a like perspective of it makes you think about who like the injury cover is for some of these players. Like there are certain players that definitely have better injury cover. CeeDee Lamb goes down, you get George Pickens, feel great. Jamar Chase goes down and you get T. Higgins, awesome. Khalil Shakir goes down and you get Keon Coleman, you're like, eh. So it's like it's definitely interesting to at least think about. Like I will say, like Jordan Love's best thing is his injury replacement because his injury replacement is better than him. Whereas like Mahomes goes down and you're just like looking at Chris Oladokun and you're like, yikes.
Shakir is like the worst player on a good team left, like on the platform, right? Like the only reason he may as well be just called Buffalo wide receiver number 1.
I will say, like when we added players in certain positions, some of the players that were added were there because of their playoff likelihood. Like I think that Shakir, I mean, literally the 4 of the bottom 5 guys. So the bottom 5, these were like the bottom 5 receivers that I had ranked in terms of like just in ranks, what they do and all that stuff when we like were loading up. And the players were Khalil Shakir, the Bills receiver, Rome Odunze, rookie Bears receiver. They were looking good to make the playoffs. Stephon Diggs, New England receiver. They were looking good to make the playoffs. Michael Pittman at the time, Indy was like a lock to make the playoffs, and then they fell apart. And then Cortland Sutton, again, Broncos, they were going to make the playoffs for sure. So like a lot of the bottom end receivers were guys that were going to make the playoffs because we wanted to try to have a balance of the good players while also having like the playoff guys.
Sure.
And then tight end, very similar. Like the bottom end tight end guys that we had were Hunter Henry, locked to make the playoffs. He's actually been pretty good though, but the expectation wasn't that he would be great. It was that like he could make up some of his value in the playoffs. Mark Andrews, again, at the time, the Ravens looked like they had a decent shot at the playoffs. Dalton Kincaid. In my opinion, Kincaid was the worst player that we have.
I mean, realistically, when you're talking about tight ends, there's like 3.5, and everyone else is just a team tight end.
Yeah, so I would say if you remove injuries here, you have McBride and Bowers are a clear step ahead of everyone else. Kittle wasn't dead, so he was in the next group with Goddard and Warren, but Warren fell off. Right. And then after them, like, I don't know, the list that I was looking at was just like, at the time, Fannin hadn't really established himself. I would have added Fannin if we had seen more. But like Jake Ferguson was a lock not to make the playoffs, but was pretty good. Laporta was looking good to make the playoffs, but then he got hurt and they fell apart. Kelsey I had to add because he's still good, but also he dates Taylor Swift, so like you can't leave him out. Yeah, but at the same time, like he was the one player that I said from like day one I will not own. If I win shares of him, if I have shares of him, they will be sold immediately because I just don't trust him not to retire immediately.
Totally agree.
So that was just a player. I'm like, I'm out. I just don't care. Like even if he produces, I'm out. Same thing with like in the playoffs. I'm not. Are you holding tight ends right now?
Let me look. I don't. Certainly not on. The only tight ends I would hold are McBride
and Bowers.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I did not have any interest in holding these. Like, I just have sacrificed the TP in the playoff. I did own Kittle. I bought Kittle and I held Kittle and got buried. I literally paid. I bought like 500 of Kittle before the week and then sold him for like $300 once he ruptured his Achilles. But like, I have no interest in holding Kittle at all anymore. No interest in Hunter Henry. He's just not what I want. Dalton Kincaid, no interest in. Like I said, I think he's like one of the worst players on the platform in terms of like actual players, but like he's on fucking page 1. But also, like, I think that's important, right? I think having those guys that are on the playoff teams and being able to get value out of them because they make deep runs, that is a positive. And that was what I tried to do with some of these guys. Is like Khalil Shakir, he was at 2% before the playoffs. Now he's at 8 or he's at 10 for rewards. Like he could get to 25 if they make a Super Bowl. I think that's good. And I think that is the way in which you give lower level players value.
Yeah. This is my tight end list, which you can see almost all of them are under $20. In
Yeah,
fact,
so
all of them except McBride. So I really should sell them all and just put my $1 that I get from Mark Andrews somewhere else.
Swap it, baby.
I do like the your reference to page 4 guys.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Mayfield was that low.
Yeah, he dipped. He was like 0.15, and then they didn't make the playoffs. He dumped like 0.04. I actually sold a lot of my Mayfield and then bought back. I'm like, this price is just really stupid on him.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. And then you obviously were referencing Brian Thomas. Like, do you obviously believe that Thomas can be a productive player next season? And given that he's so cheap, is it just a belief in the Jags?
It's not necessarily just a belief in the Jags. It's that he's also put up like a pretty high end season, and he's only 22.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's a young. I do think that they are an up and coming team. They looked really good this year. I think they should continue to look really good. So I think that there's a lot of like positivity with him.
Those two seem like the only ones that are real from this page 4 that realistically could be productive next year.
Not necessarily. I mean,
more than random basis.
Javonte Williams, I will say, got kind of fed this year. I don't know if he remains there in Dallas or anything next year, but he got kind of fed. He could be Laporta, I think, is a decent tight end. He's pretty solid when healthy, just wasn't healthy this year. Gadsden, I think they're going to be moving on from Keenan Allen, which opens up a lot of targets for them. I think DK Metcalf, Ryan Thomas are both reasonable. Garrett Wilson, if they get a quarterback in that they like in the draft and decide to like not be the embarrassing piles that they are, like maybe he'll be valuable. But I'm like, I just think like how low are these guys going to go? Like even Kamara, like I think Kamara's kind of washed. I'm not really interested in Kamara, but like how low is like Alvin Kamara going to go? Like if he's going to be this low, like I mean, click on Kamara and type in $100. Like you get
40,000 shares.
Like if he like gets 10th once, or if he gets 5th once, you pay him off. Like now, did he get it this year? No, he didn't. But like, I mean, let me look at the off season stuff. I'm sure there's some guys that are down here that got it because there was very few people that didn't get much. Like,
what's crazy is that there's only 790,000 active shares of Kamara.
Yeah, like you have so much of it. All right, can you go back to the list of page 4 and we'll look real quick. Like Javonte Williams had 6% rewards during the course of the season. If you buy 40,000 shares of Javonte Williams, or if you buy $100 with Javonte Williams and he gets 6% worth of rewards on the season, you're going to pay that off double probably. Like you're probably getting a legendary pack worth out of it. So like they're just is pretty safe to me. They feel safe to me, or safer.
Safe in the respect that they can't go much lower.
Yeah, they can't really go much lower. Like, I mean, Josh Allen, like we've already seen it. Like these page 4 guys in this sell-off right now, they haven't really moved that much for the most part. They're all pretty stable because there's just certain people that own there's probably quite a few people that own like, or not quite a few, but like there's some people that just own like a lot of the shares of the people. And if that's the case, the price is probably more protective. Whereas like you go to page 1, yeah, they're all down to like 20%.
Yeah.
Jimmer just said the token shot up. Yeah. Oh, here it goes. What about $5 Gamal Day? Let's just have $5 token day, right?
Yeah, the highest we got was 0.11
right after launch. Yeah.
09. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how this stuff all works, but it's all news to me. It's probably all just activity and stuff too, right?
I assume so.
But no, so I mean, I just think that if you pick and choose guys, like I think that you can make quite a bit of interest on them. I think that there's just some pretty solid options with lower priced guys, and I think that there's some buys to be had, and I think that there are just some safer spots you can put in, and I think typically those are going to be like lower price guys right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't know. I like I said, I basically just wait for my football rewards and see if those fund my NFL stuff.
I mean, I also think like your money in football, and this is another thing, like money in football goes way further. Money in the NFL goes way further than soccer because the market cap is 4x smaller. So like there's just 4x less shares. So you put $100 into NFL guys, it goes a lot further than $100 into soccer guys. So we're gonna have to see where this stabilizes at because it's still going. It seems like it's stabilized a bit because I think I've been at like the same ish squad value and to some extent for a while. I don't know why yours updates so much faster. Mine updates so much slower than yours. It seems
like the market one.
Yeah, the market one's like much different. My market's still showing at 6.43 million market cap.
I don't think it updates on its own. That's why.
Yeah, but how do you get it updated?
I just refreshed the page.
I refresh the page and it shows the same for me. So I just think it lags.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to look at.
Yeah, it's more like I think that this works well when it's not like a super volatile time.
Yeah, maybe.
But when it's volatile, like you need to be looking at other stuff.
Yeah, I just like this Tenero because it makes me feel like a real trader.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's all psychological at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like I said, I'm not planning on selling or moving anything.
Right. Like I'm looking just to be like, oh, cool. Like I don't have a number in my head of, okay, I need to get out. You and I were talking about that during that huge run up with football, like, months ago. We were like, how high can this possibly go? We got our answer. Here we are still unsold. But I don't know, the number that we need to get to in order for me to be like, okay, I'm done is not remotely close to where we are.
Yeah, like and my stuff was a lot different. Like back then I wasn't on the team. I didn't know the ends. I didn't have as much like info. And like I think the team's really good. Like everything I see is really favorable to me, which is the most important thing to me. I know that the person in charge of NFL I trust because it's me. So like I feel really good with the decision that NFL made. I said in my opinion, I have one miss on NFL, and you know what it is.
Stafford?
Yep, Stafford. I really wish I had Stafford on the platform. I don't think the decision at the time was incorrect, but I wish that maybe I revisited it while I was in the process of doing stuff and be like, they're shooting up. Maybe I should put him in. But overall, I don't really have any regrets with that. I think injury cover is great. We literally have a dude with a fucking ruptured Achilles in 5th place of the tight ends and is like a page 1 or 2 player right now. Like he literally has a ruptured Achilles and his injury cover sucks. And he's still up there. And I think that's a positive because I think that that's a solid thing. And I think that the injury cover works really well. Because the thing is, it's not even like
Maxime's trying to get Stafford to retire.
Well, that is true. And that was kind of part of my issue. That's also another reason why like Kelsey, like I want out of Kelsey at all times because like Kelsey retiring is like an any day possibility. Now, if he says he's back next year, I maybe would have some interest in like buying Kelsey next year with like the idea of like, hey, one last ride, he'll probably be at least decent. But
with a quarterback coming off a torn ACL.
Yeah, I don't know. I have some concerns about that team. I have some major concerns about that team. So yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I think the NFL stuff. I mean, the injury cover. Here's the thing with the injury cover is like, I looked at it, and most of the time you get the injury cover, it sucks and doesn't do you any good. It doesn't matter. But the fact that you just know if your dude just tears his ACL, you're not just fully shit out of luck. Like you might have a shittier player. You might not. You might have a better player, but you might have a shittier player. It's still like, okay, cool. Like Josco broke his leg or whatever he did, dumps off by like 75% or whatever. And it's like, feels kind of shitty. It just is not fun. And to me, this stuff is about like having fun. And like, I don't want to just be sitting there like looking at a guy. Oh, like he tore his ACL, like and him just dust.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I mean, yeah, look at that. Like just goes from 0.08 to 75% to today. Like it happens in NFL too. Like, and I think it will happen with certain players, but it is nice to know that the guy will at least still score and maybe still have a chance at certain times.
Anyone who's playing has a chance.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Was there any thought, like regret wise, with Burrow just because we had injury cover, or was it just like we can't add Joe Flacco realistically to the platform?
No, the idea and thought, and I actually think this is correct, is that we didn't want to have guys that were long-term injured because just wasn't really something we were trying to do.
Yep.
And also I thought it gave us the benefit of like now next year, we are not planning to stay at 72 players forever. That was not the expectancy. The expectancy is to increase players to some extent. The amount is unknown at this moment, but the idea was always to add more players. So by not adding a Joe Burrow, by not adding a Malik Neighbors, by not adding those type of guys, Jaden Daniels, we now have those guys that are ready to come out this upcoming season.
Yep.
That are marquee top end players that weren't available.
Makes sense.
So I think that being able to hold a couple guys back in a natural way was a solid thing.
Mm-hmm. Great answer, Sean.
I'm really pretty happy with how everything has gone. I mean, do you know off the top of your head how many players have earned TP at some point during the season in NFL of the 72?
I thought it was like, I thought it was in like the mid to high 60s. Wasn't it that high or no?
69.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
that means the player base was really good.
Yeah, and I think that also like the three players that didn't earn any TP were, I think there's only three because Brian Thomas got some the last week. The only three that didn't, actually hilarious. The person with the least amount of TP at receiver is Justin Jefferson, who's probably a top 3 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Which is funny. That just goes to show like what happens when your quarterback play sucks. But if you look at it, the 3 guys that do not have any TP at all were Isaiah Pacheco. He kind of sucks, and their offense sucked, and their running back. Like, even when he got injured, there's still 3 guys. Just isn't very good.
Yep.
Bucky Irving, again, lots of injuries. And actually, funny thing is, so the 1 week he was injured, the injury cover was Chip White, and Chip White sucked, and Sean Tucker would have gotten TP. Then the next week, the cover moved to Tucker because RotoWire updated it, and then that week, I think Chip White would have won TP. It was Sean Tucker. So anyways, just some unlucky situations with Irving. And then the other person is Alvin Kamara. Again, he was hurt for a while. And then once he was hurt, like the tight end was kind of the RB1, or like they split it 3 ways.
Yeah.
I know, Maxime, it's like Sower should have hired me years ago when I like, you should hire me. But I actually think that it's pretty good. I think the NFL product's pretty good. I'm happy with where it is. My one regret is something that is really not a big deal in the end of the world, right? Like, I mean, let's say I add like 3 quarterbacks to start next year. I don't even know if I add Stafford because he's another year older. We have Jaden Daniels, who I think is a clear add over him. We have Joe Burrow, who I think is a clear add over him. You might have like a Fernando Mendoza going.
I was just about to say Mendoza probably.
Like, is he, or like whoever goes first, like if they take a quarterback first. So I realistically don't even know if Stafford gets added at the start of next year. But I'm pretty happy with how everything is with the NFL right now. Obviously, I just wish all prices were higher, and that just is what it is. But like, I'm not worried about that. I'm happy with the product. I think the product is really good. I think it's really fun. Watching games is really fun. Like almost every week, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like almost every week, like going into Monday night, like people that are playing Monday night have potential to win TP. Now, that said, like if Puka rips off a 50 and I have DK Metcalf going Monday night, I'm probably not expecting him to get first, but like third is available. And there's been plenty of weeks where like first place at running back is like 18 points going into like Monday night football. And shit. And then you see those guys just start spiking off because there's a legit shot at first for them. So it's pretty cool to see how the market reacts based on how the week is going for the players in those positions.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it the same thing kind of applies with on the soccer side. Like, you have as long as you have someone in another game, like you've got a chance.
Well, from a sober perspective, I mean, I don't even give a shit anymore. I barely check it. I set my lineups and then like we'll check like once a week. Like the 1 week I didn't get my rewards for like 4 days. Like I think I got my rewards 4 days later. But like this week, Leverkusen game postponed. All right, cool. There goes 7 of my 9 lineups I made. Like just done. They're dead. That's not fun. Whereas like I'm like Leverkusen gets delayed on FDF. I'm like, all right, yeah, you lose a game from Fleck and stuff. Yeah, that's that you lose it. No big deal. But it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't cost you a contract. You just move on to another game. They're gonna reschedule that game, so you'll make it up at that point. Whereas like Sower, they might reschedule it into a week where the Bundesliga doesn't play, and then it's not live in Bundesliga. Like your cards aren't as valuable. And then also, oh, okay, like there's only 3 goalies now. Gregor Kobel's playing in a bit, and he's a big favorite. Like I'm a lot more incentivized to buy him. Bayern guys, like I wanted to watch Bayern game, so I'm excited to watch Elise and Kane and those guys. Well, on Sober, dead. Lions are all dead. No point to watch that game. There's no point. Football Defense, like, oh, hey, this game is maybe even slightly more valuable now because these other guys aren't playing. So it's just cool to be able to do stuff on a player-by-player basis. Anytime I want to watch a game because I want to watch players in it, I always have the incentive to do it. Like I think there's been like maybe 1 or 2 times this season where like I had a quarterback on Monday night, but the quarterback scores were so obnoxious. I'm like, yeah, he's probably just not going to get there. But otherwise, almost every time it's like Monday night comes around, I'm like, oh yeah, I got these guys. They're probably in play to get up there, and I have some interest in watching the game, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the one thing that you didn't specifically reference was like the Leverkusen game gets canceled, and you're like, oh, now like whatever, my Grimaldo gets nothing. But like you also get nothing from the Schlotterbeck that you had in the same lineup as Grimaldo, whereas now, although fucking Giovanni Di Lorenzo decided to ruin the fun.
I know. I'm actually pissed at myself for not buying some of him. I should have bought some of him. I bought some Bastoni, but honestly, like looking back, well, I mean, hindsight obviously helps, but I should have bought. I don't even think it's hindsight. Like I should have just bought some Di Lorenzo instead of some of him.
Yeah, Di Lorenzo's like Rachmani's the consistent one on that team.
Yeah,
but Di Lorenzo has the spikes, and he spiked this week just right when we didn't need it.
Yep, right when we did not need it. Same thing with like Elise couldn't quite catch Nemcha. Like that sucked.
That sucks.
Like, oh, just get in front of him, and he just like couldn't quite get to him, and he just didn't do much because they were up. That was unfortunate, but yeah, Kobel won. But unfortunately, yeah, I guess part of the issue though is like Kobel's gonna win, but
no. We got Mike Mignon against Como.
He's probably gonna win, but he might not. But he probably does. But it doesn't matter because pricing has just gone down a bit today, where it's probably like that was probably not great anyways. But it's always hard to find that stuff because like some weeks the pricing goes up, and you're like, shit, I could have won TP and made money off buying that guy. This was maybe not the week to do it, just with the token dropping like imminently.
Plus, it's a silver tournament anyway, so it's not like
yeah, but even so, like I think I bought $1,000 worth of Kobel, and I'm gonna get like 3,000 TP, so like $120 worth. Like that offsets some of it. The issue is like I said, he's probably gonna dump enough that it probably wasn't a justifiable move. But I wasn't really focusing on the token stuff. I was just focusing on like what I thought was a good move because his price had been pretty stable around like 0.03, 0.032. And when I bought it, I think I bought it like 0.033 or 0.034. So I was like, even if he drops a little bit, like I'll make up more than that with TP. And if he does go up, like I'll be fine. Because I also like I was one of the later people into him, I guess. But if I was one of the earlier people into him, it would have made it way better.
Yeah. Yeah. You got anything else on this?
No, not much. We'll have to do this more frequently nowadays because I'm in my off season, so I can hop on a little bit more.
Let's go. Heard it here first. Regular show. We're back. Thanks everyone for coming. Congrats to everybody at Sport.Fun on the token launch today. I know that's like a humongous deal, and so I know these things aren't easy. And being able to have a launch like this that seems to have gone smoothly from our perspective. Who knows if it actually did, but everything looks smooth. The number for this chart, we're starting to move in the right direction. And so that's all we want. So thanks everyone for coming. Enjoy up and to the right, and don't forget to go outside.